This is Tea Time with a Medium, a podcast about wellness, healing, and communicating with the afterlife. Brought to you by Angeline Young, broadcasting positive and upbeat insights on life after life. Hello, gentle listeners, and welcome to Tea Time with a Medium. I'm Angeline Young, your host. Today I'm answering questions from a listener who asked, why is spirit stronger right after they pass? Why is it that loved ones come through more forcefully right after they transition to the other side? Well, this could be true for a number of reasons, although the amount of time it takes for someone to come through varies depending on the individual. Not every spirit comes through immediately after passing. Some need time to acclimate, to learn of what happened to them, to learn how to communicate. How strongly spirit comes through is dependent on a number of variables, including the personality of the spirit, the conditions surrounding their passing, whether or not you believe in spirit communication, or whether or not your loved one believed in the afterlife prior to crossing. Today, I'm going to discuss the top 3 reasons why spirit is stronger right after they pass. Number 3. Spirit has something to communicate to their loved ones. Perhaps the crossing was sudden, like a car accident, or maybe a suicide. Spirit would want to come through immediately to make amends or to tell their loved ones in the physical world that they're okay, they're all right. I once read for a woman whose husband passed suddenly in a car accident. He came through immediately to give her support in raising their kids and helping her to transition to a new routine as a single mother and a caregiver. Spirit will come through to make your transition easier. When they cross, so do you, in the sense that your life is moving into a different territory of soul learning, expanding, and developing in lessons of loss, which I always tell people are lessons in loving and being loved. Number 2. Another reason why spirit would be stronger immediately after their passing is because they have the spiritual capital to do so. People who have invested in developing their spirituality, either through ritual, meditation, religion, or any other spiritual practice, are able to come through sooner because of the spiritual power they've built up while in the physical world. I've seen this time and time again with people who meditate regularly, who establish a connection with nature before they've crossed, or simply who are very religious. I once had a grandmother come through making jokes about Jesus. Her granddaughter, expecting to hear dreadful, awful things because it was her first mediumship reading and she didn't know what to expect, was pleasantly surprised. She said that her grandmother was a devout Catholic, and while in hospital, just prior to her crossing, she was coming in and out of consciousness, saying that she could see the other side, the people on the other side, and Jesus. Now, those of you who know me know that I'm not religious, but I know that spirituality manifests in a myriad of ways, and there are as many ways to work with spirit and develop ourselves as there are people on this planet. So to each their own. Number 1. Now, what I'm about to say could be controversial for you, so I've saved it for last. How you receive this information depends on what you believe about the afterlife. Again, there are lots of ways to understand life after life, so take what works for you and consider the rest with curiosity. The number 1 reason why spirit might come through is that they are not aware that they've crossed. Let me give you an example. A woman once told me that her father came to her in a strange, chaotic dream. In the dream, she was watching him call her on a cell phone as an ambulance raced by in the night, and suddenly he walks up the stairs to look at his own gravestone, set into a wall at a mausoleum. Next to his grave marking were the markings of his brothers, the woman's uncles, who were all in spirit. Thinking this was strange, the woman dismissed it as a crazy dream, only it felt very real to her in every way. 3 days later, the woman waited for her regularly scheduled phone call from her dad, who at that time was living in the physical world, yet she had this strange dream that he had crossed. Since they lived in different states and he lived alone, they made their phone call an appointment so she could catch up with him and make sure he was all right. Well, this week, after she had the dream, the phone call never came. After a few days of waiting for him to call her, the woman received a message from the medical examiner's office in the city where her father lived, with news that her father had passed suddenly, alone. The date of his passing was estimated to be the same day she had had the dream. Suddenly, she realized that the dream was an explanation for why her dad missed their scheduled call. Recalling the dream, it seemed to her that he didn't know that he'd passed. She then understood that her dad, in the dream, was quickly reorienting himself to his new condition as pure spirit without a physical form on the other side. Now, remember when I said that this number one reason why spirit would come through so strong immediately after passing would be controversial? Well, the controversy has to do with how I explain or talk about what the woman witnessed in the dream state. Language is so limiting. As soon as we try to explain something, especially a dream or something that we feel, the truth of it eludes us. It seems to just slip away. Was it just a dream that occurred coincidentally on the day that her father passed? Or was it a shared death experience of her father's crossing? Can we understand the dream as a message from her father as he was passing through Bardo? Tangent here. I just threw a lot of terms at you. To those who are familiar with research on survival of consciousness, the terms shared death experience and Bardo are concepts that you understand. To the rest of you, you're probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about. For now, I'll simply state that Bardo is a term which Tibetan Buddhist practitioners use to describe the intermediary state of 49 days that a soul lingers between its old life and its new life. A shared death experience is when an incarnate person, that is, a person with a physical body, experiences the transition of another person who is moving from the physical realm to the spirit realm. It can happen while you're sleeping or while awake, though usually when you are in a receptive state, such as doing something relaxing like fishing, or you're on a plane napping, or you're showering, or you're walking through nature, it is possible to experience your loved one passing as it is happening through visions, sensations, hearing things, feeling things, sensing things, smelling things. These are all ways that shared death experiences are possible. There you have the two terms for reference when I talk about them in future episodes. I'm not going to go deeper into them, but for now, let's get back to the woman's dream. In the dream, the woman received a message from her father, who was explaining that he wouldn't be able to make their scheduled phone call because he had crossed to the other side. Curiously, her father was a deeply spiritual man who meditated for 3 to 5 hours a day prior to his passing. So it's no wonder to me that he was able to come through right away after he crossed. The woman also recalled that the dream had a sense of urgency. Her dad was laughing and excited as if he was just discovering his condition. He wasn't in any pain, but laughing. This tells us that spirit has a sense of humor. Now, months after his crossing, the woman continued to experience dreams and visions from her father, both while she was sleeping and when she was awake in a receptive state. Usually while she was washing the dishes, chopping vegetables, or on a walk in nature, and particularly in meditation. These visions seemed to be narrations of her father's past, events that she had heard of, but she was now experiencing these events with heightened senses. Not only does she account for her shared death experience, but she believes she was experiencing her father's soul review, which is essentially a movie that they show you once you cross so that you can understand your behavior, your choices, and how your choices affected the conditions for your development both in the physical world and now in the spiritual world. It's essentially a review of your life. A life review or a soul review. The consequences, both the benefits and the challenges that your choices create, are all shown to you in this review. The people you helped, the people you hurt, those you loved, and those who loved you. You're able to accept those lessons on loving and being loved from a completely different perspective when you're in the spirit world. I believe that, as a planet, we are all struggling to reconnect with spirit, grappling with the practice of remembering our soul selves, reconstructing awareness for all the ways that we are connected to the spirit world, reconstructing awareness for all the ways that we are reconnected to the spirit world, because we have somehow, in our fast times of computers and online everything, forgotten how intricately connected we are to each other and to the other side. Ancient cultures have long revered and worshipped the afterlife and ancestors. As a contemporary world, we are trying to return to that sense of reverence. Our loved ones come through with strength after crossing because they have messages for us. It's as simple as that. For the woman in the example, she received several messages after her father's crossing. Including evidence of her father's soul review or life review on the other side, which gave her hope that we have the opportunity after crossing to remember ourselves, put ourselves back together, look through the kaleidoscope that is our beautiful soul, to see how all the elements of our life being fit together. With this new understanding, we're able to continue our soul development in the spirit world. Through mediumship, our loved ones in the spirit world are able to share their wisdom with us. We started with the questions, why is spirit stronger right after they pass? Why is it that your loved one in spirit comes through more forcefully right after their transition to the other side? We talked about the top 3 reasons. Number 3, they want to tell you that they're okay. Number 2, they're excited to share that they can still communicate from the other side. Number 1, they want to give you messages of wisdom which they've acquired from their journey from the physical world to the other side. Gentle listener, I leave you with these questions to ponder. What if we practiced our soul review every night before falling asleep? What if we didn't wait until we got to the other side to have a life review, to become more conscious? How would the world be different if we watched our actions through this day that we lived? If we could come into awareness of knowing, then we would be aware of how we're evolving every day. Becoming aware while we're still in our physical bodies, that is a Buddhist teaching of presence, of being present in the moment. Wouldn't then being present with ourselves, in our bodies, in this world, help us understand how our actions and thoughts shape the conditions for our lives and our learning? Our actions impact the lives of all those we come into contact with. Increasing our ability to be loving begets more loving. It raises our vibration. So why wait for the soul review? Why not start living with sacred awareness now? Well, I'll tell you, one of the benefits of raising our vibration now and practicing a life review or soul review before bed is that we can come right through after we cross. I hope that was helpful for you. You've been listening to Tea Time with a Medium, brought to you by Angeline Young, broadcasting positive and upbeat insights on life after life. If you'd like to collaborate with us, or if you'd like to hear us cover a topic of interest, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call and leave a message at 520-789-6248. Whenever you're ready for a spirit connection, visit us at angelineyoung.com to schedule a time. Remember, be yourself, seek the truth, and the path will unfold before you.